We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiencers of extraterrestrials. Just what's out there in the abyss, in the darkness of the unknown.
Well, because Draconians, and I don't want to give all Draconians a bad name because they're not all bad, but aliens are all bad. But they feed off our fear, they feed off our energy, negative energy. They chaos is their food, and they don't want us to be enlightened and move on and to go towards the light and be enlightened. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't want us to succeed because they've got a finger on this place, and they've got this is a smorgasbord. They come here to feed us some negative shit, Excuse my French, but
it's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because what lies in the darkness brings powerful transformation.
we're going to be.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to hear some mantras, because the ones that I have had, and I guess maybe I'm really lucky, but the ones that I have come into contact with are very evolved.
We're the bridge between two different worlds, with one foot in this reality and one in the next.
No more.
So, yeah, our last shows we talked about that.
Yeah,
you guys
and that's all I can see are the 3 suction cup foot frog people thing that was going on there. Stop it.
Fun.
The shift is here, along with profound integration.
That dovetails with our, as paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
When we go into an investigation, we always try to tell our crew, don't be afraid, because that will that'll give energy to whatever negativity is around there, then and it attracts them because they feed off of it.
Just who are extraterrestrials and what are their plans?
Is there anything else happening around you? For whatever reason, there are certain souls that are put in place to bring the block. What do you mean by that? There's a lot of roadblocks in the way, but there's certain beings that don't want shift to happen. They want it to stay the way it is. So what kind of species wants it to stay the way it is? It's like I'm going back and forth between 2 different. Ask them to give you a visualization of the other species that's trying to block the shift. And describe what you see for me. A mantis. Some kind of mantis? Are all mantis like this? Just some? Are there any others that you see? Grays? There's some grays too that want to stop the shift? Yes. Why would they want to stop the shift?
It's time to find out with the Voices of Contact.
We are the voices of experiencers because we are the experiencers. It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformation. We are the voices of change. We are about evolution on an expansive level, living life without fear and becoming the bridge between 2 different realities. Profound evolution is here. Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary. I'm a channeler and psychic medium. I'm also a hypnosis regressionist for ET experiencers, and I work with MUFON doing regression work. I also work with PTSD experiencers, paranormal experiencers, and victims of crime to assist them in recall. I'm really looking forward to another amazing show tonight with our panel. I just want to say to you guys that the work that you're doing here with me is so impactful, like literally it's life-changing. And I thank you for being a part of it and being here with me. It means more than you realize to me as well as the listeners. So allow me to introduce some of my most favorite people. First, we have Deb and RJ DeRoos. They're authors, paranormal UFO researchers, and they're experiencers themselves. And they also are the founders of the Michigan UFO Contact that happens every year in Houghton Lake, Michigan at the end of September. They're owners and managers of Mystical Awakenings Radio, Mystical Awakening Podcast on the YouTube channel, and at the Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Last but definitely not least, we have our amazing new panelist, Deborah Jordan Cobble. She was the central figure in Bud Hopkins' international bestseller, Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods, which was actually made into a CBS miniseries in 1992. She's co-author of the book Abducted, The Story of the Intruders Continues, and author of Extraordinary Contact, Life Beyond Intruders. She's a former Indiana MUFON investigator and co-founder of her own paranormal group, Paranormal Underground, and host of the Midwest Paratalk podcast. With the amazing panel that we have tonight, I know that anything is possible. And we are going to get down deep into discovery and answers to what's actually really happening out there. This show is all about transmutating the light from the dark and replacing fear with knowledge. Through my regression work, I have come across amazing cases with some amazing clients. It is my passion to work with them and to help them have a better understanding of the contact they've had. Whether they were taken, have had contact in the physical realm, or through a dream state. I'm grateful that my clients have agreed to allow me to use their regressions on the voices of contact. Tonight, this is the place to be because the panel breaks down the experiences, providing powerful feedback. I love it because all the listeners get to learn and connect, and the person that I regressed walks away even more immersed in the experience with a new perspective on their contact. Literally, it's a win-win, right? This is the Voices of Contact.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys
Hi.
tonight?
Hope you guys had a good week.
Yeah. We have the
Good.
beautiful Dana back with us.
Yes.
Hello.
Her hair looks
Thank you, Dana.
gorgeous.
Yeah, thank
She
you.
is gorgeous. Yeah.
Pretty short today.
So,
Tempered or height-wise?
Both.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that as okay. Great assault there.
so tonight's episode is just a continuation of last week's in the regression. And so just to touch base about that a little bit. And she was standing on a beach with 3 other people. She saw 3 craft in the air. And she focused in on the windows and she could see the beings that were inside. And coming to find out that a lot of them were Palladian, and this is where she's from. And she's lived many lifetimes as Palladian, and that she has a purpose here to try to connect with as many people as she can to raise the vibration because we're shifting into the new age. And so that's part of her purpose.
Okay.
So starting with this first clip, and this is actually to Dana's point from last week's episode that not everybody is part of the collective. Not everybody wants to be a part of the collective. And this is a good point that she made, being the psychic that she is, right? In this next clip.
Okay.
Awesome.
Is there anything else happening around you? For whatever reason, there are certain souls that are put in place to create a block in that. What do you mean by that? There's a lot of roadblocks in the way, but weird. There are certain beings that don't want shift to happen. They want it to stay the way it is. And what kind of species wants it to stay the way it is? It's like I'm going back and forth between 2 different draconian. Ask them to give you a visualization of the other species as trying to block the shift. And then describe what you see for me. A mantis. Some kind of mantis? Mm-hmm. Are all mantis like this? Just some? Are there any others that you see? Rays? There's some grays too that want to stop the shift. Yes. Why would they want to stop the shift?
Yeah. Why?
Well, because draconians, and I don't want to give all reptilians a bad name because they're not all bad. Like anything's not all bad, but you know, they feed off our fear and they feed off our energy, negative energy. They chaos is their food, and they don't want us to be enlightened and move on and to go towards the light and be enlightened. And so yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't want us to succeed because they've got a finger on this place and they've got this is a smorgasbord. They're gonna come here and feed us some negative shit, excuse my French, but so yeah, there's not all beings want us to be higher beings, but it's too bad. We're going to be.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to hear her say mantis, because the ones that I have had, and I guess maybe I'm really lucky, but the ones that I have come into contact with are very evolved and are on, I feel definitely on board with the collective. But I'm sure just like all humans. And as she was talking, I'm thinking, oh, just like Earth, you have half that want to move forward and half that wants to move backwards. So you can have that all in the same species, have a separation too, I think.
Well, it's just like us.
Service to others and service to self. I mean, you decide. And I don't mean if you service to others that you just become this complacent, just do as they tell you thing. You can still have your individuality and be a very loving, caring, giving human being or being, period. But a lot of people out there are just out there for themselves, self-serving, and their ego is. That's what they live off, and that's what that's what they do, because they haven't got it yet. They just don't know. And I think that's true. Like you said, we've talked about this many times, that every race has their own, or every, has their good and bad in it. So, but I would think those mantises are like that. They're not very highly evolved as the ones that you've contacted.
Right. Maybe they have suction cups on their fingers.
Yeah.
No more suction cups. No more.
So, yeah, our last shows, we talked about that.
Deb,
Yeah, my
you've had
first show, and
experiences.
that's all I can see are the 3 suction cup foot frog people thing
Yeah.
that was going on there.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, and it was interesting because Dana and Mary and I were all at Potographs in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we did the suction cup thing came up a few times.
Oh, God.
But as we were ending that conference, a new conference was coming in. It was a frog
conference.
Are you kidding me?
No.
No.
And they had containers after containers of
Frogs.
frogs. They had frogs from around the whole world.
Oh,
It's like
Lord.
frogs are following now that Morse code thing that
Yeah.
comes through. If it starts like ribbiting,
Yeah.
probably. Yes.
Is that so?
Yes. But I was
So
gonna make a joke that it stuck with me. But that was really weird when all those it was a frog convention, like
That's
in
freaking
Michigan
freaky,
in
man.
March.
Right.
And we were talking about those
Sure.
frogs I told you that got introduced by the Greys to this guy that been around for a long time, and we talked about tree frogs, and they're
And amphibious type
yeah.
beings, and yeah.
And then 3 of us end up at a frog convention. I just wanted to go free all the frogs.
3 psychics walk into a frog convention.
Right.
And the other one says,
Yeah. Deb, you have had experience with mantis beings, haven't you, or have you not?
Me, my
Yeah.
sister had, not I haven't.
Okay,
How
was
did
it
she feel?
negative?
I don't. She never really talked a whole lot about how she felt a part of it, other than I know she was just scared all the time. She was terrified of her experience
They
and of
make me
them.
feel hollow when people talk about it, even if you've had a good experience like Deb. For some reason, every time that particular type comes up, makes me feel very hollow inside, which
Huh.
is not a good
It's just
feeling for
stress.
me.
No, I wouldn't think so, huh?
The grays and stuff, and none of the other ones have made me feel like that. But for some reason, that one just, I don't know what it
And
is.
I feel very
Calm.
loving energy.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
must be different ones. They're, across the tracks from the other ones. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to people that have had the experiences with them, and it's a mixed bag, but
I think Michael Carter has had
a good
very
experience.
similar experiences with them as I've had. I'm gonna have to get a hold of them.
Okay.
And our friend Barry.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've had experiences with, so I can't.
We're gonna find out.
Ah! Okay.
You'll be fine.
Can I just be an audience member that occasionally comes on here and asks too many questions? Because I don't know if I want to know anything.
Well, I think you. Once you find out, you'll be okay. Yeah, you'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Because that's the way Beth was, right? Now she talks about it. When she found out, it was okay. It's okay, Dana. You're gonna be all right.
I'm waiting for the code to come through from them.
Yeah.
The Morse code, horn sound or whatever. Probably a kazoo for me. All right. All right. So.
All right. So for this next clip, it talks a little bit more about the species, but then it talks about the point where they sit her down into a chair.
Yeah.
Gaining some What do they gain? feeding off of fear, What does the fear do for them? providing them with the energy. Provide them with some kind of energy? Yeah. What do they need the energy for? Growth. For growth? It's spiritual growth for them. Okay, so what happens next? Where you're at on the ship? I'm sitting in a chair with them. What does the chair look like? Metallic and iridescent. They're trying to get me to be calm. In what ways are they trying to get you to calm down? And what are they doing with their hands? Like they're transmuting energy. They're transmuting energy towards you? Yeah. Does it help calm you down? And now I want you to ask them what it is they want from you at this moment.
Okay, so who's feeding off her fear, and then who's trying to make her not be afraid? I don't understand.
Well, she was talking about, like in that first clip we were playing, where there's certain beings that don't want the shift.
Yeah.
And so that's
okay.
what you're asking is why. And she said it's because they want the energy to feed off the fear.
Okay,
That
got you.
helps them in their growth.
And you know what?
Exactly what Archie said.
That dovetails with our, as a paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
When we go into an investigation, we always try to tell our crew, don't be afraid, because that'll give energy to whatever negativity is around there.
Yep.
Then it attracts them because they feed off of it. So that makes sense. And then the other part was that they were trying to calm her down. So, okay, now I get it. I don't know why, but for some reason, I'm not being able to hear her very clearly.
Right.
I'm going off of mainly what you're repeating, Mary, when you do it, because I'm not always hearing her very clearly. So.
We're not either.
Yeah, there is a lot of like I told Deb and RJ, when I was listening back, there was a lot of like disruption to what she was saying, a lot of static
Yeah.
where you could hear it, but then it would, like, for some reason, it would only, I had to spend a lot of time going through it and editing it so that it would amplify her voice, because there was just static interference with what she was saying.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if it was like a frequency thing where her vibration was interfering with it or what.
Or you
Because I have a
company.
memory. Oh, I'm sorry, Deb.
No, I just said, or they had company.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That
I
does
had
happen.
a memory. I had a memory of being told by someone whom I couldn't see. It was like a disembodied. It was either like disembodied voice or during a lucid dream. I'm not really quite sure which one it was. It's been so long ago, but I was told that fear would slow the process,
Hmm.
and so
Absolutely.
that's when you know that all kind of came back to my mind when I was listening to this too as well.
Yep.
Mhm. Well, if you think about it, the more we feed the lower vibrational beings, the longer this whole process is going to take to work, because
And
we all have to get on board. So if some are staying in that lower vibrational, let's feed off the negativity. How can we become one and loving?
Literally get
right.
on
Well,
board.
part of the narrative here too is that we've been, anything out of the normal scope, we fear. We've been trained to fear
Yeah.
that. So there's that too. You know,
And they say the opposite of love is not hate, but it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Love is the highest vibrational emotion, and fear is the lowest.
and I'm afraid of everything. I'm kidding.
God.
I'm really afraid of some people. But
Not really.
but that's part of how we're, being alive in the world today, what we
Yeah.
watch, what we see, the different people yelling at us to think certain ways, that's all
Yep.
fear-based.
Yes.
So it's hard for us to break away from that probably.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
how to
absolutely.
Which is why
that's
they're
how to
coming
control
in.
a mass amount of people is through fear. So
Yeah. If you think about religion, I shouldn't go there.
she
Sorry.
should say
You can
Certain religious aspects.
I think she
not
said
religion across.
relish.
Yeah. Sorry, Mary.
We love you, Mary.
Oh, you too.
I'm always trouble when I come on these shows.
No, you're not.
We like
I
trouble.
was close. Yeah. But some things on this planet are designed to create fear in us.
Right. To hold us back, maybe.
And it's
I'm just
control.
theorizing. I don't
Yeah.
know. So they're coming in saying, no, don't be afraid, because it's going to slow down where you're supposed to be. And none of you are, or not a lot of you are doing that right now.
And
So
thinking
we're
about
here
it.
to pluck you up and
Well,
Yeah.
but
raise
also
your
think about
vibration.
but also think about the fact this topic, they want you to fear it because it's going to bring forth the information they don't want you to know.
But
So-
guess what? They're coming
What?
whether or not those people want
Exactly.
it or not.
Exactly.
And I think that's really jacked up the last 5 years, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, just
8 years
daily,
or so.
daily.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think like Star Trek times, all alien movies were horrors.
They came from Mars.
They were they were made to scare the hell out of us. And then I think shows like Star Wars and Star Trek came along to maybe bring a little awareness.
The Forbidden Planet.
Disclosure, though, if I have a memory of being taken, like you guys do, that's going to scare me regardless of what they're telling me about. They're going to have to give me some pretty good drugs, hypnosis, whatever it is they do to make me not afraid of that.
Well, they got a way. I don't know.
Yeah, they
how.
got away.
Pluck
Trust
They
me
me.
got
out
a
of
way
it.
to do it.
All right,
They got
well,
away.
Because I remember being terrified and thinking, just don't move. Please don't come any
Yeah.
closer to me. Don't touch me. And then the next moment,
You were
I'm like,
good.
I'm good. I'm sitting there on
Okay.
my bed having to
That's
trying
some
to
good
talk
shit,
to him
man.
after. And then when they leave, I can't get my husband awake, so I just slide down into bed and go to sleep, which that doesn't make any sense.
No, it
Considering-
doesn't. But I that makes me believe all of this 10 times more, though. Is that kind of a thing? Because
Because,
Right.
well, they do
it's
something.
so
I don't know what
abnormal
it
to
is,
what
but
we
Well,
know.
I think part of it is, like you guys were saying earlier, the fear of the unknown. When you don't know, when you see something, a being that is not from here, it's going to scare the out of you.
I
That's
was
normal.
terrified of the one I did see,
See,
and
there
that
you
wasn't
go.
very long ago.
But after a while, you get to the point where it's familiar, so it's no longer that unknown.
Not there yet. I am interested in all of this.
And-
Do you mind me asking what you saw?
I think it was a tall gray.
Okay.
And it was outside of a window at a place I was in Virginia a couple 3 years ago now, I think it was. And I had a doppelganger experience the same evening with a very, very profound experience.
Right.
This was a quote unquote haunted location.
Right.
And then it got real weird.
Yep.
Then it was right after the doppelganger thing happened, but there were other things. And I was sitting in one room looking out into a dining room area. And so the windows for that dining room were probably 6 to 7 feet where the bottom of the window started from the ground.
Right.
And I saw full this part and head. And it wasn't just me. That's
Right.
what.
Right. Right.
And I stopped looking because, denial Dana. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I saw it. Creeped me out. That was
Can't
terrible.
make me look there. Yeah.
Yeah, that must be the guy next door on a ladder washing the window at 1:00 in the morning.
That's it.
not what I think it is,
Yeah.
but it was. We have a picture of it, I believe, somewhere.
But anyway, that is, that's what happens. You can't stop.
Right,
You-
but it didn't happen
Yeah.
like how it happened. Not that I recall, but yeah, just seeing it
Yeah.
like talking like this and looking up and seeing it, for instance, is what I'm talking about, as opposed to having an experience where I'm taken that I
Yeah.
recall.
that you recall.
Yeah,
Well, the
that's
fact that
all.
we're still
We
here,
digress.
the fact that we're still here is it's okay. But are we
We're still here.
But where are we?
Where are we at?
I don't know.
All right, so for this next one, it talks more about exactly what she's supposed to do here for Earth as part of her purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to do that. You're going to remain calm. You're finding your center because you know you're completely safe. And ask them what kind of information they want to provide you with.
You want to remind me of where I came from, showing me little bits of that, downloads of information of past lives and how I know them, clips of our interaction.
Describe one of those interactions for me.
We're in a room, house. The walls are white. There isn't much in the room. Like a meeting that I have before I leave them and never see them again.
What's the meeting about?
Me traveling, being prepped before I leave.
Describe what you look like for me.
Tall, bluish, odd color, like gray blue.
And what about your arms and legs?
Very long.
And what about your head?
Long as well. Thin and long. Bright color.
And what about your eyes?
Like they glow. Full blue.
Have them tell you where you're going to be going. So this was a meeting right before you came to Earth? And what will be the purpose of you coming to Earth?
Bunch of us. Earth. But be like lookers. to be visual gateways for them to see through, I guess.
So you'll go to Earth for a way for them to work through you?
Yeah.
And what kind of work are you going to be doing?
Spiritual work, shifting so that things can happen the way that they need to.
Wow.
So yeah, they're
Okay.
sitting there in this chair, and she's talking about how they're showing her glimpses of downloads. So we tune into one of those downloads, and then she's in a white room, and she's in a meeting, and she describes what she looks like as that being, that bluish green with like glowing type of eyes, and they're showing her what she's going to be doing when she comes to planet Earth. And basically, she's going to be that person where they can work through her in order to raise the vibration.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now, did I hear elf in there?
That I'm not sure. That I don't recall it in
Ask if you-
regression.
Did you hear an elf?
I heard her say elf, I thought. But
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. I thought
I didn't
if anybody
hear
heard that, I don't know.
I
what
don't know
that
why I heard avian. Did
Avian?
I hear avian? Did you?
oh, how
did you
strange
say-
that you're all hearing different things.
was. Oh, you know
I heard
what?
Avian.
Blue avians. So
Maybe I
Yeah.
heard blue in my. Maybe I heard avian in my head because she said blue, but I
yeah,
I
'cause
thought
the
I heard
avians-
avian.
So the avians are bird people from the sixth dimension, and they're blue, and they choose to come here as birds, looking like a human type bird. And they're called the blue avians. Yeah, they're very very spiritual, very intelligent beings, and so they do look like a bird a little bit. They speak with a beak and small one, but they look they have a human type. They have arms and legs, so. But they're talked about a lot. A lot of people talk about them. So.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're that color. Blue. Yeah.
So they're programming some people, or there are some people on Earth that are there, for lack of a better way to put it, like a spy camera. Just like walking around, like seeing what's going on, and they're seeing
Mhm.
through that, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe as
Spy
a
camera in a
vessel,
bad way. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
okay.
or maybe
They're-
they're using them as a vessel, like
Yeah.
the,
Mhm. They're learning through
Transfer.
them. Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't we have a regression not too terribly long ago that somebody literally said that's what they were here for, was basically to spy on the human race?
Yeah, they did. We had
Yeah,
that.
report.
That's true.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm a spy.
But
No,
I-
that's interesting to me though that they would put it that that she's putting it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there are many here for that reason.
Yeah.
We all have different roles. And there are certain ones who are here to basically spy and keep
Yeah.
an eye
It
on.
throws me down a rabbit hole every time I've been on here now. I get off of here and I'm going, oh God, that takes you all down all these different
Yeah.
possibilities of
Uh-huh.
what the deal is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, even on a big
Paranormal
spiritual,
was bad enough.
yeah, on a big spiritual contents that we are all here so that the Creator can experience life in every aspect that it can. That's why we're all so different. But it may be that way for just some other species to learn about certain things that they don't have where they're at. And before we become that, or maybe become a hybrid, we want to know what's going on with that race, that species. So,
So interesting.
yeah.
All right. So for this next clip, she talks about another download that they're giving her, where they actually show her how the planets were created.
Ooh.
Nice.
Did it give you any more downloads?
Like a remembrance of a great one. Really powerful.
So she's a gray and she feels like your mother?
No, it's like this. Explain it. If it's source, they're like showing me source.
And what's the purpose of them showing you that?
The connection to the energy, where we came from.
To show you that we all come from source? Is there anything else they show you? Where's the explosion from? Ask them what the explosion was. Is it connected to source?
Very bright. It's like a very bright explosion. White light.
What does it expand to?
Expands out. Space.
And then what happens after the explosion?
Everything's speeding up and forming.
And what's forming?
And it's everything in the universe.
Okay. So you're still sitting at this table and they're giving you the downloads. And what happens next?
And again, RJ, guess the next clip. Now, I found this one really interesting. Because at first, I thought she was talking about like there's this great being there, and I was like, it's like a mother, but no, she was talking about source. They were showing her the explosion, and I would call it the Big Bang, where the light exploded and expanded and started creating everything.
Yeah. That's what I got that from that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And now, I think we're dealing with some pretty high advanced beings, it's very high spiritual beings that are, well, she's dealing with them anyway. Because they're showing her some pretty heavy duty stuff.
Well, Palladians are very old and advanced. Avians
Are definitely,
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I got goosebumps. And just the thought of to see time begin. I can't even.
No,
I can't
another
imagine.
rabbit hole moment for me.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly awesome, but hard for us to wrap our heads around.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, her getting these memories and dealing with this. Thank goodness she's, talking to you, Mary, and going through regressions and not just remembering and not knowing what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Sounds like she's a strong spiritual woman. Thank goodness.
our
Yeah.
galaxy is 4.5 billion years old, and they say the universe is probably about 15 billion years old. So
As far as we know.
as far as we know, as far as humans know, but it could be much different. That's just what we're told. But if you think about it, some beings have been around for a very, very long time, and they live for some of them for, once you realize that you're eternal, your soul and all that is, you experience all kinds of things.
Quick question,
Yeah.
just because I'm curious. Is there, since there's probably we don't even know how many other species or beings, whatever, are out there. When it comes to us on Earth, who do you feel is the most, besides the Greys, which everybody kind of talks about, especially back like the 70s, the early the 1900s, as it were. But as far as like who we interact with the most, who are we looking at here? The Palladians, or what?
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you talking to? Who's talking to you all?
Pleiadians, Orions, Arcturians. But
So
there
there's
was
several different types.
in this galaxy, and
Okay.
the Anunnaki was responsible for us, our physical selves. We were created in their image,
And
Some
what
say.
but 250,000 years ago. So the
kind of
ancient text-
reputation do they have, though?
you know what?
I've heard different things on that. I just don't know because, like, again,
No,
I'm
they're-
coming at this from a viewer
Yeah,
to
I'm
you guys
pretty.
too.
I'm pretty
And I
pissed
don't
at
know
them.
some of these people.
I'm pretty pissed at them because they were very highly advanced, but I don't think they were that spiritual. Some of them, and I don't think they. I think they were really highly advanced, maybe fourth dimensional beings. But
Okay. Mary, what
uh,
about yours?
For me, my experience has been mostly with Grays.
Okay. Deb?
Yep.
Yeah, mostly with Grays.
Grace? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm just
Right.
curious because I know there's several different. You guys have talked about several different, and I just didn't know if maybe like Earth are with a particular bunch of there's different ones that deal with us here,
Well, in our galaxy,
right?
there are several, but if you think about the amount of beings, living beings on our planet alone,
Mm-hmm.
it's mind blowing. I mean, it's really, as far as living beings, there's millions, literally. So to say, oh, this one did this and this one, it's all theories and
But as far
kind
as
of,
our interaction, like Mary's interaction and Deb's interaction, and then you guys have your own interactions that seem to be different. I was just curious why do they all get together up there and then talk, or is this like separate
sometimes,
stuff?
yeah, sometimes they do get together. I had an experience, and I thought for a long time it was a dream, but I know it was an experience, and I was actually on this ship with Bill Konklowski, and there were. It was like this huge city, and there were so many different. It put me in mind of being on the Ark because there were so many different types of beings.
Mary, you did
And
a
they were
regression on somebody that wasn't that the lady the last time I was on? Didn't she talk about a ship that had like a city inside?
That
Viz
was
or
quite a
Meg
while
too?
ago. And that was a gentleman.
Okay,
And-
sorry.
yeah. Nope.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
that's the way
remember
I
hearing
described
that though. Okay.
But and it's not that uncommon.
Okay.
I've learned after I had that, then I start looking into that, and it's like, whoa, this is, fairly common
Mhm.
that people see this. And I think part of the reason they do it is to show there are so many different ones, as
Right.
there are different people that can get along and can cohabitate.
Okay. Well, that answers the question. I just didn't know if there was like a specific.
Well, you have to go back to our history and why are these sites set up, these ancient sites set up to mimic the Pleiades star systems or the Orion star systems. Okay, so that's what a lot of it's based on, because the connection with certain star systems and that they are actually in contact and they were here and there, and so that's what it goes for.
I feel like I'm in grade school and you guys are like grads, PhDs.
No,
Why
far
is
from
this
it.
happening?
No, far from it. And I think it's good that you're here because you're asking things.
Yeah,
as
that needs to be
people-
asked.
Right. That needs to
Well,
be
it's so
asked because-
interesting, like when Mary does the regressions and then you're listening to these things and it's just like, wow,
Mhm. Yep.
not,
That's what this
not
show is
anything
all
out of
about.
my playbook. So
We're here so we can all learn. That's what it's all about.
So
That's right. All right. So for this last clip, they
Oh,
talk
no,
more about
already?
I know, right? They talk about the shift that's going to happen and why it's so important.
Time, but it's time. What is it time for? The great meeting. They're getting ready to have a great meeting. Everybody is. Who's everybody? Everybody on Earth that volunteered to be a part of this that aren't from here. So what's the great meeting about? And what are those changes? That they're coming in to help create shift on so many different levels. levels, politically, environmentally, spiritually. But they're doing it in a way that it's subtle. Super contradictory. This is weird. They're trying to. They know they can't make major shifts, but they know that a shift needs to happen. But that they're trying to make.
They make the contact to get the shift to happen?
Yeah.
And why is the shift so important to them?
Because we're not progressing fast enough.
And what happens if we don't progress fast enough?
I see fire.
She sees what?
Fire. That's
Fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That could be
That planet's out.
what do you from the sun? A coronal blast, and I think we've had them in the past. I think they've melted the poles and had big floods. And in the 1800s, we had one that took out the whole Morse code systems throughout the West. It just zapped all the wires. So.
well, that
But yeah.
answered my question. That clip answered my question from before. I was asking before. I just
See?
wait. If I have something come in here, I'll just wait.
Nah. No.
So, and I think these things are set up on purpose. I really do. That if we don't advance, that, we got to start over.
Well, there have been quite a few cataclysmic moments in world history that, as far back as we've been able to track it.
Yeah.
And
I really
we still
think
haven't found Atlantis, guys.
Well, that's because Atlantis was everywhere. But I think if you go back, like I said, every 13,000 years, as we go through this golden whatever energy, photon energy, that's when the Earth changes happen. If you trace our history back, the great big gigantic flood that we had was about 13,000 years ago. That's when Atlantis was sunk, the whole continent. And if you go back 13,000 years from that, I think you'll find something else happen. And we're in that mode now. And I think other beings have the technology and the way to get us through it if we're ready to get through it. That's why it's so important that we do spiritually and evolve and become more advanced.
Right. If we can prove that we're ready to be a part of the collective.
Yeah.
And in listening to her, I'm thinking about all that's going on right now. People keep yelling, disclosure, we need disclosure. Well, we're here.
It's already happened.
Here we are. It's
Here
happening.
Here we go. They agree.
Thank you. They're saying we're right. It is happening. Experiencers are speaking out. The government's not going to say, oh, they're here and they're here. That's not going to happen. Disclosure is us knowing we are the point of disclosure. And what's happening is more and more shows, like maybe not like this one, because I don't think there are any like this one, but on UFOs and extraterrestrials and all of that are surfacing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This past year, I'm thinking, wow, we start a UFO contact, Michigan UFO contact, when I get the downloads that came out. I knew they put it there. They basically started it. And in the last few years, UFO conferences are popping up everywhere. Not that there weren't any before us, but there weren't many, especially on our side of the country. Now they're becoming common.
Mm.
So that, we are prepping for this great meeting, right? We are coming together on this. So we have to continue to move forward and work our roles.
Amen.
Amen.
These three ships came sailing in.
They start popping off this Christmas carol, super appropriate for the
What
moment.
does that really mean? These three ships.
Well, I know. Yeah, I get that too. But
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And, we've all been for many years, planning on the age of Aquarius. Here we are.
yeah,
Yeah, we
Here we
are.
Yeah, that whole system was set up purposely. The
Oh.
zodiac system. That's
And we're in it. We're in the shift. Like Andrea Perrin would say, the holy shift.
holy shift.
Oh, holy shift. We're here. We're here. So people need to be super aware, super conscious of the collective consciousness that's within and around us.
Yeah, and I want to thank this person who the regression that was really important stuff. And
It was.
I'm glad, yeah, it's really important stuff. And I'm happy that she's on her mission and
Yeah.
that she got that word out for us to listen to, and that's really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I thank her and thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, that's all we have for tonight, you guys.
Wow.
So
That was a
thank
good one.
it was a good one.
Oof.
You guys make it good too. All the questions, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and the
Big
Yeah, that
thank
was-
you to Dana.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
And I'm surprised you didn't look something up this time, Deb.
You know what we need to do is get somebody who knows Morse code to see if that is Morse code
Well, you're
Yeah.
right.
when it
Yeah,
comes
you're right.
through.
You're right.
I don't know Morse code. Okay,
It could be a
I have
message.
no limits, but
Right.
we should find a military somebody that knows how to do it to see if that's actually saying something in Morse code. That
That's
would be
great.
really interesting
That's a great
Yeah, we need
idea.
to try that.
Wow.
because it's coming through. If it's coming through 80% of your broadcast, is that what you said?
Well, yeah,
A
it's
lot
come
of
through a
them.
lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
It would
And,
be
it
interesting to
comes
see
in
if
at
it's
weird
like
times. when we're
military,
talking.
like
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if it's something else going on. But it would be interesting to see if it was actually saying something.
So we're putting that out to the audience. If any of you
Yeah.
know Morse code
Anybody
or know
who knows
somebody
Morse
who
code,
can figure this out for us, let us know.
please do.
It's
Even if it
important stuff.
says, stop wearing sparkly shirts, Dana, or
No, Josh.
RJ, take your hat off, or Deb, stop smiling so much, or whatever it might be. Or the other Deb, talk more.
Well,
Yeah.
I totally understand that what's going on there, but so yeah,
They need to
that was-
stop Morse coding and come and fix her thing.
Yeah.
That would help you.
I can't even hear it. I just wish I could hear it.
Yeah, you'll have to play it back.
Yeah.
Do you hear it, Mary?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
I
was
heard
just
it loud
wondering-
and clear. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
All right, I was just wondering why you don't hear it, Deb.
I don't
oh,
know.
maybe she's got a different.
Maybe she's the Morse code.
Maybe she's it. Maybe she's putting out the message that way and subconsciously and not knowing it, like
I didn't
TKR
know that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they made a.
We're blaming you today.
They're
You're
changing it back to
oracle.
Deb.
Oh,
She's been a lifelong experiencer. They could have programmed her to,
Right.
send out Morse code and not even know it.
That's true.
Okay. Oh my
she's like, great. Something else I have to think about now. You're a transmitter.
Yeah. I've said that before.
Well, there's worse things you could be called.
Yeah, and I have been called.
So far, okay.
Well, that was a
Here
great
it goes
show.
again. It just beeped again. Did you guys hear it?
No.
It went wah, wah, like honk honk. Play it back, you'll hear
The
it.
train again.
Yeah.
Oh lordy.
Well,
Get
have
on
a
board.
great night, everyone.
All right.
All right,
thank
love you guys.
Thank
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiencers of extraterrestrials. Just what's out there in the abyss, in the darkness of the unknown.
Well, because draconians, and I don't want to give all reptilians a bad name because they're not all bad, but aliens are all bad. But you know, they feed off our fear, they feed off our energy, negative energy. They chaos is their food, and they don't want us to be enlightened and move on and to go towards the light and be enlightened. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't want us to succeed because they've got a finger on this place, and they've got this is a smorgasbord. They come here to feed us some negative shit, excuse my French, but
It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth because what lies in the darkness brings powerful transformation.
we're going to be.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to hear her say mantras because the ones that I have had, I guess maybe I'm really lucky, but the ones that I have come into contact with are very evolved.
We're the bridge between two different worlds, with one foot in this reality and one in the next.
No
Yeah.
more.
So, yeah, our last shows we talked about that.
Deb,
Yeah,
you
I
guys
think so, and
did.
that's all I can see are the 3 suction cup foot frog people thing
Yeah.
that was going on there. Stop it.
Well, I mean,
The shift is here, along with profound integration.
That dovetails with our, as paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
When we go into an investigation, we always try to tell our crew, don't be afraid, because that will that'll give energy to whatever negativity is around there, then and it attracts them because they feed off of it.
Just who are extraterrestrials and what are their plans?
Is there anything else happening around you? For whatever reason, there are certain souls that are put in place to bring the block in. What do you mean by that? There's a lot of roadblocks in the way, but weird. There's certain beings that don't want shift to happen. They want it to stay the way it is. So what kind of species wants it to stay the way it is? It's like I'm going back and forth between two different. Ask them to give you a visualization of the other species that's trying to block the shift. And describe what you see for me. A mantis. Some kind of mantis? Are all mantis like this? Just some? Are there any others that you see? Grays? There's some grays too that want to stop the shift? Yes. Why would they want to stop the shift?
It's time to find out with the voices of